I have a grand vision for wanting to teach a lot of people. And I believe that technology is here as a hand of God. You know, it's just as powerful and just as valid and real as everything else that has been a product of nature. And we should use it to live our dharma, essentially, you know, to further our mission, further our purpose.
That was me, Henri Winslow, and you're listening to Dharma Talk. Dharma Talkers, I'm coming at you with a special bonus episode. This week, you've got a double feature. And what's the occasion? Well, it's finally here. With a healthy mix of nerves, excitement, and wonder, I can hardly believe I'm announcing the launch of a project I've been working on for a year and a half, or depending on how you look at it, the last 9 years of my practice. Introducing Henri Yoga, a 40-day program for anyone looking to get serious about yoga. I, along with the many talented individuals who have come together to bring this dream to life, created Henri Yoga to make it possible for anyone, no matter their schedule or budget or location, to dive headfirst into this practice, which has so positively transformed my life. The program includes 40 days of powerful, comprehensive 40-minute classes for only $33. You can practice along anywhere from your phone on the Henri Yoga app. And here's my promise. You spend 40 days with me on the Henri Yoga app and watch your own unique transformation unfold, from stiff and out of balance to flexible, fit, and strong, from cluttered and dull to clear and radiant. I'm not even asking you to take a leap of faith here. If you sign up today, you can get the first 2 classes totally for free. There's not even a credit card necessary. So just go to henriyoga.com and sign up. Be sure to follow the new Instagram account too. That's at henriyoga.app for a steady stream of free tutorials and content highlighting you and all of your journeys with the program. I thought this would be the perfect opportunity to share with you an interview I did with Danny Pomploon on his podcast, Yogi Misfit Sessions. Danny is a past guest on Dharma Talk. You can check out his episode, number 68, to hear his story and wisdom, or go to dharmatalk.show and type Danny in the search bar to find it. That's DANNI. But this time, he's interviewing me. We had this conversation shortly after I filmed the class and workshop videos for Henri Yoga app. So the idea of using technology as a means to spread yoga worldwide and my mission to make this transformative practice accessible to all was definitely top of mind. I'll leave the preamble to that and just let you listen for yourself. So without further ado, please check out my Yogi Misfit session with Danny Pomploon.
Henri, the yoga teacher hustle is real.
The yoga teacher hustle is very real.
As I was texting you, literally running home from teaching one thing, shoveling food in my mouth so that I can get on and do a podcast with you.
Did you just come from teaching class?
I went and taught a private. So I taught class this morning, and then I had a little break to do yogi admin stuff. Like the amount of emails I get as a yoga teacher is ridiculous. And then I taught a private, and then I got a sandwich, and then I shoveled it in my face, and then here I am talking to you.
But you're getting paid by the hour for all that admin work, right? All those emails that you write.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah.
I thought so.
I bill it to Danny Pomploon LLC, and he pays me.
Oh, that's a great deal you got worked out there. I like that arrangement.
I just did my taxes, and I was talking about this in class, but I just did my taxes, and I had that moment like this last week where I was like, I no longer want to be CEO.
Yeah. How do I sign up to get a W-2 from myself?
Yeah. Or just like anybody else, but like continue to do the thing that I'm doing, like not have to answer to anybody and like all that stuff, but just receive the check and the W-2.
Yeah. That is the toss up, isn't it?
Dude, it's rough, man. It's like, I think like people just forget like there's so much stuff that we have to do, and we don't get days off, and we don't get vacation pay, and we don't get sick pay. And if we don't show up and do the thing, like we are our product, you know what I mean? If we don't show up and do the thing, there is nothing to be done.
Do you teach every day of the week?
I used to. And I actually, believe it or not, this year is like the first year where I was able to like, was maybe, well, okay. So I'm totally going to lie and bullshit you and say that this year I gave myself 2 days in a row off, and then I started teacher training. So I haven't had a day off in about 7 weeks.
Well, yeah, I'm realizing how important that is right about now. And I'm like having to reconfigure my schedule to make sure that I get 1 day off, even though like, even if you teach one class, it's like 1 hour of your day or 2 hours or however long, like still to just have a complete day off totally changes the game and gives you energy and revitalizes you to give more in all your other classes.
Yeah, I mean, it's important. It's totally important. But at the same time, you know, like I live in San Francisco, like it's really hard to get by and do the thing and then live in this expensive city.
Yeah, well, I can relate to that. I'm in New York, so I think it's probably just behind San Francisco in terms of cost of living. Is that right?
Yeah. So in today's episode, Henry and Danny we start crying in about 2 minutes.
It's reflection, self-inquiry is part of the yoga process, isn't it?
We start crying and just complaining about this is a struggle.
But we're happy. We're happy about the struggle, or I am. I can only speak for myself.
Oh my God, totally. Like you get to do what you do. We both get to do the thing that we love to do every day.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know about you, but that's not always been the case for me. I had the more traditional career path before all of this. And given the pros and cons between the two, I would definitely take this one.
What was your background before yoga?
You mean like professionally?
Yeah.
I worked in advertising. I worked in advertising straight out of college. And it was just about as far on the opposite end of the spectrum in terms of like the mission behind the work I was doing as possible. Because all of the advertising clients that we took on, I worked specifically in agencies, like boutique agencies that served pharmaceutical clients.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're going from like heal thyself from the inside out right now to like, let's give you all the drugs.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's exactly why it didn't sit well for me in doing yoga a lot. You know, I had a very committed and disciplined practice throughout all of that, but it was before I was teaching. And the more yoga I did, the more I was like, you know what, I just cannot suffer this bullshit and do this work it's actually past the point of lacking meaning to me. It's antithetical to what I stand for.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I get it. You know, like I was bartending before teaching yoga. So I was literally helping people figure themselves out by offering them tons of booze.
Mm-hmm. Which I suppose may have its time and place.
I forgot to tell you, side note, did you know that we were hanging out in the same room in New York in February and I didn't get to talk to you because I didn't realize it was you?
I did not know that.
Yeah, you were at the Asana Rebel event practicing.
Oh yeah, I was.
And I was
you were in there?
I was hosting the Instagram and I was running around with the camera and then like hosting the podcast and whatnot on the side.
Oh, okay. So are you involved with them?
Yeah, I am. I was, as you were leaving, I was like, I know. Oh, okay. Bye.
Well, here we are finally connected, at least through audio.
Yeah, totally. So from corporate world, you went into yoga and now it's just exploding for you. You're doing a lot. You have a podcast as well.
I do have a podcast as well. It's called Dharma Talk with Henri Winslow. And I talk to yoga teachers. I would love to have you on soon to return this favor. And we talk about people's paths, their purpose as they see it, and what Dharma means to them.
Yeah. Can we continue to cry about how hard it is?
The tears, they just keep on flowing, don't they?
I love it, dude. I love it. So I want to talk to you a little bit like more just about the hustle, like to let people really into what it's like to be a full-time yoga teacher and specifically some of the stuff that you're working on right now to make that work. Like, what is your typical day like? What is your typical week like, I guess? Because it's different every day.
Yeah. And honestly, I mean, it's different every week too, but, you mentioned that you were just coming from teaching at private. I think that is a critical piece of the puzzle if you live in an expensive city like we do. But I teach a lot of group classes. I get a lot of joy and energy out of teaching the group classes. Yeah. I do teach the privates also. It's a totally different situation, different kind of intimate relationship. But those help to pay the bills for sure. Yeah. And then I travel around. I just got back, you were rushing to make it to the microphone. I just got off of a flight back from Miami, and I was down there teaching like a weekend immersion with my wife, Veronica, who's also a yoga teacher. Oh, and before that, I was also in Miami filming online classes that will be live on OmStars, which is one of the online yoga content platforms. Yeah. So that's really my play for starting to stop trading my time for money so much and develop a little bit more passive income related to my yoga teaching.
Was it, what was the experience like? So I know that there's a lot of, there a lot of people want to go into like the online market because it makes sense. What was your experience like setting it all up and like filming and, going through the entire process from start to finish?
It was actually super casual and fun and easy and low stress. I got introduced to Kino McGregor, who is the founder of the platform and also of Miami Life Center down there in Miami, some time ago. And we've just like stayed in touch and been friendly. And I've taken a number of her workshops around the world. And eventually she invited me to come on it. And I was a little nervous at first because it's a lot of new eyeballs. You're used to teaching in your own studio, maybe your own city, and occasionally going around teaching at studios where you have a connection. To put yourself out there and expose yourself as a teacher to people who have never seen you before, I think it requires a lot of vulnerability. At least if you're aware of it. Maybe if you just put your blinders on, you're like, okay, I'm doing this. Right. That can serve too. But when I got in there, they made me feel super comfortable. It was just one video and audio expert handling everything. He had the 2 cameras going. He's got all the mics and everything. And then a production person there, 2 people. So it didn't feel intimidating at all once we got there. And I just taught my 3 full-length classes. I taught a handful of like shorter videos that people can supplement with or take on their own if they have a busy day. And we got through it so quickly that I was able to say, actually, I want to teach this too. And I added something in, and we had a full day just to shoot promo and go around Miami, like being silly in front of the graffiti in Wynwood and playing around on the beach. So it was a lot of fun.
It's a different experience. Like I the first time, were you nervous at all? Like when you first were starting?
I was nervous before I got there, but as soon as I saw the people, made eye contact and saw that we were just, a couple of people just shooting some yoga, I was like, okay, I'll just make this. It's nothing unusual. I'll just do the normal thing. And I wasn't nervous.
Did you have a model or were you teaching to yourself?
I was teaching to myself. There was no model there. I was practicing the poses while giving the cues.
Oh my God, it's so aggressive. Because you film for 8 hours and by the end of it, you're just like,
yeah. Well, that is the challenge. Is you're telling people to inhale and exhale and you can't even do it because you're talking.
Yeah, totally. You're trying to cue people through stuff while you're breathing. When I first filmed, this is I don't know, it was a couple years ago. It was first time I did stuff for Yoga Works. The first time I did it, I was really nervous. And it wasn't because I had it just was because there was a camera there. It actually made me feel really wow. For me in my head, I was like, if I mess up, this is forever. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not gonna go away. It's recorded. But after the first time, first 5 minutes, maybe it just became a lot easier. And then, I did this thing, like, I don't know if you've ever done it in a teacher training, but I had this training where I was told to record myself. Actually, one of my coaches did it, and I was told to record one of my classes, and she listened to it, and then she made me listen to it. And that, like, the first time listening to it, I was just like, ugh, like hearing my own voice.
Well, even if you're not teaching yoga, sometimes to hear your own voice makes you cringe,
Yeah. Like when you play it back. Yeah, totally. But it ended up like, it kind of, not kind of, it made me like really strong and made me become like really aware of like the things that I say and fillers and all the fun stuff that goes with that, and it became easier. Now, the first time I ended up filming by myself, I had the giggle fits the entire shoot. I couldn't keep it together. Like with no models there, I was just like, I don't know. I was just like, I just couldn't stop laughing or like, like goofing off or like whatever. It made it easier for me to be silly. Right? Maybe, I guess, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I was just being silly because I was performing for myself.
Yeah.
It felt kind of silly.
Have you done a lot of filming since then?
On an average, I do every other month, like 3 new classes. And that, it's between like doing online classes or audio classes as well. Mm-hmm. And then I'm actually going to be filming for another company very soon. Another one of the big the yoga companies out there, but I can't say yet. So that'll happen.
Cool.
Would you ever think about doing your own online platform?
I actually am in the works of doing that now. So this filming for Stars was my second time filming. And maybe that's part of why I felt more comfortable, because I had just recently gone through the similar process only a month before that, shooting for something I'm working on with a business partner, an independent project. What
does that look like for you and what made you want to do it?
What made me want to do it is I saw that there was, as powerful as it can be to connect to a small community or an intimate, sangha, I have a grand vision for wanting to teach a lot of people. And I believe that technology is here as a hand of God. It's just as powerful and just as valid and real as everything else that has been a product of nature. And we should use it to live our dharma, essentially, to further our mission, further our purpose. So I see that technology gets a lot of flack in the yoga community, especially when you talk about, social media and influencers and the way that aspects of the yoga practice are picked and chosen. But that's ultimately a choice of the user. And I think we can use technology to further all of the beautiful things about yoga that bring us to the practice and keep us going. So I saw that opportunity. I see technology being used in all sorts of different fields and industries to broaden the impact and create a ripple effect. And I wanted to step into that and really take advantage of the era that we live in.
I think it's smart, one, but also I always think about like, some people will actually do better, doing online stuff because they get to work from, their home space. My friend Brett Larkin, she's created this online, yoga community on YouTube, and that's all she does full time. And then she has her own platform and she actually really enjoys it. She likes that she gets to, be a stay-at-home mom and take care of her kid. Granted, she does work really hard and there's a lot that goes into it. She does a lot of her own editing and all that fun stuff, but she gets to be more connected, and you get to at that time work at your own pace or not.
Yeah. I think ultimately, you're going to have problems and like challenges with any pocket of the career that you choose to focus on. It's just a matter of which ones you like, which ones inspire you and challenge you in a good way, rather than just like cause you to beat your head against a wall. And if you like dealing with editing, or you like spending time on the computer, if that's okay with you, then online's a good way to go. Right. I think I will never give up teaching in-person classes because I really enjoy them and I think they are very special. But the more I go deeper into this chapter of my career as a teacher, I think that they will become just that, more special rather than the everyday thing.
Do you feel like there's already enough like online platform stuff out there? And is that like intimidating to you?
There is a lot out there, but I don't necessarily see that as being a reason not to go for it. I actually see patterns in what's available online right now, and something common across all of them that drove me and my business partner to think a little bit differently was that they all have this kind of overwhelming library of content and programming to choose from. And what we saw missing was something very prescriptive, something that was accessible to a busy kind of person who wants to integrate yoga into their lifestyle, but doesn't know where to begin and doesn't really want to do a complete immersion where you're just diving through everything and seeing which teachers work for you. Ultimately, yeah, sure, there's going to be that. There's going to have to be a trial error or a trial period with anything. But
Sure.
We wanted to create something where you show up and the teacher, in this case, me, tells you exactly what to do for a relatively manageable amount of time every day. And in that sense, it's a lot like your normal in-person yoga class. Like you go there to be told what to do.
Right. How many teachers are you planning on having on your platform, and how are you managing like what you guys are going to offer first, or how, like, you know, you were talking about the prescriptiveness of it. How are you guys thinking about managing that? Like when you think about content development for it?
Yeah. The plan for now is it's just me. I'm the only teacher on it. I mean, these things could all change depending on what the market demands and what happens. You know, we never try to think too far ahead, but, it's just me, and it's not a subscription platform. It's just a one-time purchase and you get a 40-day plan.
Oh, very cool. Okay. So it's more of just a program.
Yeah, it's a program.
Got it. Okay. I thought you were going to go for like a subscription service where you have, you know, like multiple people on there and they can choose a ton of classes and so on and so forth.
Yeah, you're right about that there are a lot doing that. And I don't feel the need to try to compete with that. Although it is a competitive play against that sort of thing, but in a different approach.
Yeah. Did you ever what do you recommend to people that are maybe thinking about creating their own program out there?
Well, what I would recommend is that you don't get hung up on perfectionism, because the reason I was able to have the wherewithal to even go forward with this is as soon as I had the urge the first time, which was, I don't know, 2 years ago, about 2 years ago, I shot something simple with my iPhone, and the audio quality was god awful, but it was enough that people were interested and I could see what kind of things people responded to. I developed a little email list and I had people signing up and a few people buying like little classes that I shot too.
So very cool.
Yeah, I think just be okay with being a startup, like be lean, you know, just, it doesn't have to be perfect. You don't need to get capital injection to do this. Because students are looking for a specific teacher. It's not that they're looking for the best audio visual quality. All of those things are nice to have, but if you have a message or a type of instruction that people really like or are learning from, they're going to come for that.
Do you think that one thing I love that you said that, like, I always remind people, like, you can always operate from a place of fear or abundance. Yeah. And so I think that people oftentimes in the yoga community, they operate from this place of like scarcity, right? Because yoga teachers primarily only get to talk to yoga teachers about business. And so everyone's always trying to compete with one another, when like people forget, like, your story is different. What you offer is different. You could say the same exact things, but because you're you and I'm me, it's going to come off different. So there's like, yes, there are a lot of yoga teachers, and yes, there are also a lot more yoga students than there are yoga teachers.
For sure. And the other piece on that is that even if you are presumably competing against one another, it doesn't have to be that way. We can collaborate with one another. I mean, this is a prime example of that right now. Like, we're both yoga teachers. We're both like white man yoga teachers, and we're here having a conversation. And I'm not like fighting for you for students. You know, we're boosting each other up.
Wait, so we're not going to fight after this?
Well, we could. I guess we'll see how it goes from here.
I was looking forward to the fight so that we can have the makeup coffee or tea or whatever yogis do after. But I was thinking like Zoolander fight, like we could yoga off.
I've actually, that funny, totally unrelated, but that reminds me, I've actually participated in a yoga pose off. It's called Battle Asana. And as crazy as that sounds, it was super fun. And the proceeds for it went toward charities of the competing yogis' choice.
That's you know what? Like, here's my thing with that. I love it. And I think that there is a lot of work. There's, when people start to say like, oh, the people that are like doing the hard stuff is like, that's not real yoga. That creates isms. And that's not that's not how this works. It's actually, there's a lot of beautiful work and a lot of like tapas that comes up when you're in a yoga pose and when you're going through that journey. But I love that. I was more joking, but I'm totally down. Just so you know, Henri, I am getting old and my body is beat up. So I will crush you on the Shavasana game any day.
Challenge accepted.
What do you have, last piece of advice for someone that's like, all right, I'm on the fence and I want to do this and I'm going to start with my phone. How do I market this, or what do I make? How do I put this together?
Okay. Well, here's what you need to think about. First of all, what's your goal? Okay. So what are you trying to do? Are you trying to get people to be on your email list so that you can tell them about your workshops coming up? If that's the case, then you need to have a strategy for asking people for their email address. So what I did when I did this first little bootleg video shoot was I shot 4 different short videos, 5 or 8 minutes or so each, that were sent out on an email, like on an email blast 4 days in a row. Okay. And when I created a little landing page and asked people if they wanted to learn how to open their hips. And if they wanted to do that, then I would send them a short video each day. Just put in your email address and I'll send that your way. And if you do that, then the next piece that you need is you need to have a way to get people to go to that landing page. So maybe that's your social media account. Maybe you're on Instagram. A lot of people use Instagram for yoga. You can have people click on the link in your bio. That's a nice way to do it. Or you can also tell people at your group classes, say, hey, I have this little sequence. Maybe you get questions after class about poses. You can say, hey, check out this video that I made. And you can go online and sign up for it.
I love that. I love that you, and for those of you that don't know what a landing page is, it's kind of sort of like it's a one-page website where you're offering something or where you're showcasing something or you're collecting something or there's a call to action or whatever it is that you're going for.
Exactly. Yeah. And there are lots of ways you can do that without knowing how to code. There are plenty of websites you can use, like Lead Pages or something. Or if you have a website, you can probably build one on your existing website.
So true. So you can totally do that. There's so many ways to do it. Okay. So follow-up episode to this, after Henri and Danny get into their yoga fight. We're actually, you know what I think we should do? We could actually be strategic about this, Henri. What if we live broadcast this and we
I'm ready.
For a small fee, you can see this. It'll be like the UFC, like Battle of the Year, we'll like beef it up and like, we'll create like little like videos. Like, I don't know. It'd just be great. Like, oh yeah, I'm going to ohm him until he has got no idea what his third chakra is going to feel. That'd be great.
That'd be really great. And I think that we should do it in 5D.
In 5D.
It will be the first 5D live stream.
Could it be 5D immersive experience?
Well, I mean, I think that goes without saying.
Okay, great. So we can actually just like sit back and watch this go down.
Yeah, we'll just be observing. As always.
Henri,
it's all part of the great Maya.
I was going to say, yeah, we going to the duality here. Is this the Purusha or the stuff? I'm confused. I can't appreciate you enough for coming on to the show and toying into my shenanigans.
It's been fun.
Yeah, it has been fun.
You have a fun show.
Yeah, what you got to do. Life is serious. The practice can be serious, and also You got to find joy in both. I think it's really important. Otherwise, it gets boring.
Definitely. I think if you can't find joy in your practice, then it stays a chore forever, and then it doesn't stay forever. You give up on it. If it's not fun, if it doesn't bring you genuine joy, then you're probably doing something wrong.
Right. I love it. Beautiful words, man. Until the next Yogi Misfit session, this is Danny and Henri saying peace out.
Peace out, y'all.
Dharma Talkers, I hope you enjoyed listening to that conversation as much as I enjoyed having it. And if you did, please share it. Take a screenshot, share it on Instagram, and tag me at Henri Wins. I love hearing from you about the conversations that make an impact for you. We have the ability to shape the world through our thoughts, words, and conversation. So let's influence the collective consciousness together. All my gratitude to Rory Wagstaff of Ease of Mind Productions for keeping our audio crisp and operations smooth, and to Patrick Kiebzak of Momentology Music and Art for supplying the powerful soundtrack to these conversations. Please remember to subscribe, rate, and review, and tune in to new episodes of Dharma Talk every Thursday. I'll speak to you next week, and until then, keep living your Dharma.